Hey Scentsy fans, it's Patricia and today we are doing a Scentsy brick chop and chat. I will be chopping my bricks while I'm answering your questions. What I did on a Tester Tuesday video was I asked you to ask me any questions that you wanted answers to. I received 48 responses that had questions. Some are overlapping, but some have multiple. So this is going to be a long video. But let's get going. So I have my phone here and I'm going to consult my phone so I can see the questions, but I'll try to put them up on the screen. I had to use my iPad because it has more storage, so the picture quality or volume may not be up to my normal video quality. Not that that's great, but I could not find my microphone either because I misplaced it. I've never used my microphone, but I thought this might be a good time to use it, but of course I can't find it, so we're just going with the flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a brick and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the brick as I chop it. So the first one on my list is baked apple pie. This is a full brick. Bricks are about 5.75 the times size of a normal Scentsy bar. So they're pretty big and they come in 12 big cubes instead of 8 normal Scentsy bar cubes. Now you want to cut each cube to fit your warmer. So with me, what I usually do is I use 1 to 2 cubes in most of my warmers. So what I'll do is I'll go over, roughly how I'm going to chop this to get to 1 or 2 cubes. Some people, if you do the bottom of the dish method and say you're going to be putting 4 cubes, technically you could put 1 large brick cube to roughly equal 4 cubes. So yeah, easy way to remember it. So what I'll do is I'll get going and then I will start answering questions. I do have a cutting board designated just for wax. I have a very sharp knife that I like to use and a fine paring knife. This is just something to scrape up any loose bits. I'll put that over there. And I also have a paper towel. Hopefully I can keep it from being too messy. So what I like to do is score my brick with a paring knife along the hump. And I'm only going to cut 1 row at a time. I don't like to cut the whole brick. That just gets messy. And I have so much wax that if I cut 1 brick row at a time, that is going to be sufficient. So what I like to do is score them. You can see a little bit of sweat in the wells there, but I like to score them and I like to pop the brick out. Now I just made a mess because I didn't score it very well, but that's okay. Sometimes you just got to go with the flow. So we've got extra pieces here. This brick, that's how it's supposed to come out. And this one's a little bit messy. So I'll just piece it back together. So I'll put that off to the side. So I'll just, before I get into answering questions, if I'm going to use 2 cubes per dish, I would cut it in half like this. That would be roughly 2 cubes. Now all the brick cubes are slightly different sizes. So you have a couple ones right here that are very large and the ones right below them are a little bit smaller. Now this, in my open layout, I like to use 1/3 of a brick cube per warmer. So I will do that. And the first one often looks big from the top, but it's sometimes a little skinny. So there we go. So I like to just put them back together and put them in its home. Just like that. All right. This one, let's do, if I was going to do a mini warmer, I would do quarters. So let's do that here. This piece actually goes on top, so we'll cut that a little bit too. There. And crisscross for a mini warmer. A mini warmer could also use 1/3, but I wouldn't use more than 1/3 personally. I'm going to put this back in. And that one's messy, and I don't like mess, so it's a little bit distracting to me, but that's okay. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. So there's baked apple pie. A couple little loose straggler pieces, but put together. Hopefully I get better at this as I go. All right, we're going to put that one off to the side. I'm going to clean up my area. There's a little bit of juice coming off that one. And hopefully the lighting is okay. Like I said, it's more for informative purposes only. So let's get into the questions. The first question comes from Victoria, and she says, I would love to know your top must-haves from the current catalog for bars, pods, car bars if you use them, and fragrance flowers if you use them, even if it's just one item. Now, I didn't make notes about my answer, so I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. For must-haves, that's a really tough one because I would say I like a lot of different scents. This is apple s'mores. I actually have a little bit of this cut up, but I'm going to cut this row. Ooh, this is strong. I can smell from here. So I would say for bars, I really like to have a couple mixers. So sugar cookie and vanilla bean buttercream would be must-haves. Then I like to have maybe some fall scents that I really, really like. I like a lot of the cider ones like Cider Mill, Cedar Cider. I like Bright Cider Life is beautiful. Of the new releases, I like Cashmere and Corduroy. I like Spiced Ember Glow. For wintry scents, I really like Arctic Kiss. I like Vanilla Mint. I forgot to mention Around the Campfire. I do like that as a mixer as well. Just going to try to pop this out without breaking it. When you're put on the spot like this, it's hard to answer. I mean, obviously there's the regular catalog items that you guys probably know my favorites. I like Apple Butter Frosting. That is a great one in the fall, especially. Let's pop out the big boy. Now these ones I'm popping out for apple s'mores are big. So if I can get it out without breaking it, there we go. So I'm going to cut this one in 4s. Then I'll cut the other big boy in 3rds. So I like to have variety so I can kind of just pick. So I just chop and put it back. So hopefully you like wax chopping because you're going to see a lot of it here. Let's see, that kind of covered bars. So in terms of pods, I like strong pods. Just Breathe is a very good pod, I've noticed. So if you like that, it's a very strong pod. But I have so much wax and pods that I don't get to rotate through them all as much as you guys think I do. Pumpkin Roll is a nice pod. I really like that. I like Vanilla Bean Buttercream sometimes to fall asleep to. So if you have a Scentsy Go, you can just put it on your 3-hour auto shut off. Let's see, she asked about car bars. I don't use a lot of car bars lately because I prefer my Scentsy pods with the mini fan diffuser. And car bars that I have had good luck with, Welcome Home I thought was a good one. Pumpkin Roll I thought was a good one. If I was going to pick some up to try this year, I'd pick up Pumpkin Cinnamon Swirl, Bright Cider Life. Yeah, I don't know if I'll pick up. I want to try to use up some older ones. So I'm probably not the best source of information about a car bar. I will probably use car bars in the months of December, January, and February, and that's it. So I might only go through like maybe 4 or 5 in that time frame because for me, I probably leave them in maybe 2 to 3 weeks, probably about 3 weeks to take them out, but it depends on when they start losing scent. So there we have Apple S'mores. This is an older brick. This is a scent that's very strong. I love it. All right, now I'm just gonna do a little wipe down. The other thing she asked about was fragrance flowers. I like to use fragrance flowers in non-fall and winter scents. Like I like more fresh spring, summer fragrance flowers. My by far favorite is Sea Salt Avocado. It's a really good performer. So I'm not worried about being in frame, but if I can get in frame, I will talk that way. I haven't had great luck with a lot of the other scents. I've had medium. Sometimes I can smell them, sometimes I can't. Just make sure you take off if there's a piece of tape or plastic around the stem, that you take that off. And if you haven't been having good results with your fragrance flowers, try a different location. So right now in my only area that I have one going, I have watermelon tangerine, and I can smell that when I go into use that washroom, but it doesn't spread out past the little stall. All right, the next brick we have is Welcome Home. This one looks a little different because this was from when they had the VIP club. So I wasn't really in the VIP, so I'm not really sure why I have this brick, but maybe I somehow ordered it. Anyway, this I need to cut into this. This is a really nice fall and winter scent. It's a top seller, available year-round. All right, let's go to another question. Kiara says, if you could only have 6 bars in your Scentsy club, what 6 scents would you put in? That's not very nice asking for 6. 6, I would probably definitely say my top would be Pacific Sandalwood, Marshmallow Mint, Apple S'mores, Vanilla Oud, Simply Vanilla, and probably Sugar, because sugar is a really nice mixer. So that would be my 6 bars. Carla says she has a lot of questions, a lot she's talked about, but at the bottom it says, my question is there a home fragrance product line or scent or category that you'd like to see Scentsy bring out next season? So I've thought about this a lot, and I can't really think of something brand new that Scentsy's never done. But what I would like to see is Scentsy Fresh brought out in seasonal fragrances, because we always have Scentsy Fresh in the traditional catalog fragrances that are good sellers, something like Amazon Rain, you know, Clothesline, Odor Out, which is just Scentsy Fresh. I can't even think of them all. Luna. But I would like to see a few seasonal fragrances, like Arctic Kiss might be nice for the winter, or Silver Bells, or something in the fall like a Cider Mill, because if you're warming a seasonal fragrance, you don't necessarily want to spray something in your area with a non-seasonal fragrance, if that makes any sense. Here, I did a good job there. So you can see. That's how it usually works. Welcome home. I'm probably going to cut into thirds, because that's kind of where I'm going with this particular scent. So let's just pop out the other 2 here. Thirds is probably good for this one. So yeah, I don't know if that's a cop-out answer, but that's my answer. So I'm going to go to the next question. The next question is from Wendy. She says, if a bar smells light on cold, do you let it cure before warming? If so, how long? So what I usually do is I do not worry about curing, because I'll tell you, I have a lot of wax. So by the time I get to warm some of the scents, they are far cured. So technically, Scentsy wax comes, you know, usually it's probably poured about a month before you get it. So on some scents, maybe some vanilla-based scents, some light scents, an additional bit of time may help, but it's hard to know if it's even going to make a difference. The only time I've noticed is what happens is I get my Bring Back My Bar kit, and let's say I warm them for my warm review, but sometimes I'll have a few cubes left over and I don't necessarily warm them. But usually 6 months later, I say to myself, okay, I want all my open bars warmed from the previous Bring Back My Bar before I start using more. So by the time I've gone back and revisited them almost 6 months later, some of them have been stronger. I noticed one that I can remember off the bat was Blackberry Meringue. And I'm sure there's been other ones. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But I wouldn't sit and hold on to your bars for forever hoping they're going to get stronger. And I've talked about this recently. They probably won't. They might. But it's not going to like blow your socks off. That's my personal opinion on that. So technically, no, I don't let them cure, but if they do struggle when I first get them, sometimes I have to warm new collections and do reviews. If they struggle, I will put them aside and try them a few months later, but not expecting a huge difference sometimes. If there's a difference, it's a bonus. Okay, the next one is from Christy. Christy says, hi Patricia, my question is, it's mid-autumn and it's cold, wet, and overcast outside. What scent do you want to relax to when you return home? Here's the next one we're going to do. It is Pumpkin Roll. So this is a really old brick. I got this on clearance a while ago. So Pumpkin Roll is such a nice scent. I got to start using some of my bricks. Sometimes I tend to hoard them. And it's really important to cut your bricks, because if you don't cut them, you're not going to use them. So I've been holding on to a lot of bricks for this video. So, what was the question again? Oh yes, it's cold outside. It's gloomy and not nice. What would I like to warm? I would easily say, in the fall, I would say Pumpkin Cinnamon Swirl. Pumpkin Cinnamon Swirl, or probably Apple Butter Frosting. But I really, really like that was my first instinct, that I want to warm Pumpkin Cinnamon Swirl. I don't know if I've cut all the way through here. So sometimes you get little crumbly bits. I don't like mess, but Oh my gosh, this one's hard to get out. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. In the winter, what would I like to warm? Probably marshmallow mint. I'll just leave that up here. Pumpkin roll. I will probably cut this in, maybe these ones in half, because that would be like a 2 cube one. We'll do the outer ones in half and the middle one in a third. This is a really hard one to chop. Like it's the wax isn't as soft. Okay, the next question comes from Angela. She says, what 5 scents would you love to see Scentsy bring back? That's a good question. They definitely need to bring back a straightforward coffee scent, whether it be Perk Me Up, Coffee Tree, or something totally different. They should have a straightforward coffee scent, and probably one that's slightly mixed with a, that's a little bit messy there, but I usually don't get rid of the crumbs. I add them to my first warmer that I melt that in. So there we have pumpkin roll. So they need a coffee scent, 1 or 2 of them. They need a straightforward lavender all year round. I wouldn't mind seeing scents that constantly are voted back high up on the list, like Happy Birthday, Banana Nut Bread, and maybe even something like a grape scent, like the Grape Granita. Not that those are my favorites, I just feel that certain scents are kind of lacking in the catalog. We really need a banana scent year round, a bakery banana, something, if they revamped a banana nut bread and called it something different, that would be nice. I think that would be a good idea. We definitely need a lavender year round, a straightforward lavender. We definitely need a straightforward coffee and probably a blended coffee. And yes, or maybe even bring back something like sugar, or, you know, something that is mixed with a lot of different things. But yeah. All right, Patrice, who is my good friend from New Brunswick, she asks, what was the Scentsy scent that started the love for Scentsy? So I would probably say it was sugar, because I was given a tiny little mini tester sample of it, and I put it here in my bedroom. I remember it was in the 12-watt Doodle Dot, which is an element warmer. I had it turned on, and I was going throughout my house, and I could smell it downstairs. And I remember thinking, is that my little tiny amount of Scentsy wax that is doing that? And I thought to myself, I'm going to have to look into this a little bit more. So that's probably my answer for that one. Johanna, she is a good friend of mine. I love her. She has a couple questions. She says, my question is, what is one scent you've never warmed or smelled but would love to try? That's kind of an interesting question, because I've warmed and smelled a lot of different scents through my hoarding, through my tester stash. I thought about this a lot, and I can't think of one. I think there's that one raspberry Danish that Sharon always talks about. I think I would like to try that, and I think she had given Lisa Rowberry a clam, and she offered to give one to me, and I said I didn't want her to send it up to Canada because I felt bad. So I think I would like to try that. Another question, she says, what scent have you warmed in the past that hasn't come back and bring back my bar that you want to add to your club? I really want to try whipped vanilla pear again, because that was just wonderful in my mom's house. And I think that I would like to try blizzard berry in my club, but that never gets offered up as a voting option. And cinnamon chai latte would probably be in that group as well. It's hard to think. I really like that one Playa de Veradero. That's a beautiful scent. Again, it's in a collection, so some of the collections they don't offer a lot of voting options for those. I have Johnny Appleseed, one of our favorites. The next question is from Leslie. Okay, so her question is long, and I will read it to you. Okay, she says, hi Patricia, a few questions that I need to answer myself as well. Can you estimate how many clamshells you recycle each week? So I'll just try to answer after each part. I would say maybe 5. The next one, she says, can you estimate how many bars you have stashed in the closet? I know exactly how many bars I have because I keep a tally. And I will say, it's more than... All right, and that's a lot. So, you know, if you don't like a lot of wax, click out now. All right, the next one says, this is likely more personal and not wax related, but I'm always admiring how I picture your life to be. You have time to work, care for 3 kids, teach Zumba, and do wax stuff. I feel like I can barely get through each day, and I only have 2 kids. I often leave the wax in my warmers for a week at a time because I don't have time to change it, and I wish I was more on top of stuff like you. How do you do it? You are amazing. Thank you. I'm not amazing, but I'll take it. So, first off, I want to tell people, like, parenting is hard, adulting is hard. Don't be so hard on yourself. Do the best you can. Basically, one thing I want to say is I decided to give up Zumba because I was kind of getting more busy with Scentsy and busy with home life. So I actually gave that up, and my last class was July 27th, I believe. And yes, I cried. It was very hard. This is Johnny Appleseed. We're going to cut a couple pieces in half. It's one of Erica's favorite scents. But I think what it is you kind of have to devote some time to each thing that's important to you. So for me, my YouTube and Scentsy journey is important to me. And I'm not your average consultant. I don't really do a lot with my local customers like some people do. So I think I'll cut this one into quarters. Maybe I'll cut one piece in quarter and leave the other in half. You can do that kind of stuff. So this one's shaped a little different, but that's okay. One thing I definitely do is by doing Tester Tuesday every week, it keeps me on the ball with my YouTube channel. I've never missed a Tester Tuesday week. That's important to me, so I wanted to keep it going. But basically, I think you have to kind of set aside pockets of time and do what you can when you can, and sometimes those cumulatively will get stuff done. So in other words, let's say you're worried about dinner. Sometimes you can chop something in advance, the onion, the green pepper, whatever, and get that put aside. And, you know, it kind of makes supper time less of a burden because you've already got a little bit of it done. And the other thing is, if you have family that can do certain things, delegate them to do certain things to help you, whether it be around the house or if it's age appropriate, get them to start doing stuff in the kitchen. But yes, I don't think, with regards to warming and being on top of that, I kind of have to be on top of it because in order to do reviews and do my empties and things, I kind of have to constantly be thinking about, you know, how's the wax doing. So for me, it's probably because of the nature of my Scentsy business and my YouTube channel that keeps me on the ball. So if I didn't have that, I might be leaving the wax in for a week as well. Sometimes life gets busy and you can't remember to do and change your wax as often as possible. Sometimes in that situation, pull out some pods, plug them in really quick. That is always a good idea because pods are kind of like a lifesaver. They'll get you a few days worth without having to worry about scent being lost. So here we have another one. This one is Sugar Cookie, and what's one of my favorite scents. So Suzanne says, if you could only take 3 scents and one of your warmers on a desert island, which 3 scents and warmer would you choose? Great video, she said. Well, thank you. So my warmer would definitely be the Fluted Gray. I love the Fluted Gray. It's an awesome warmer. If I can, I'll put a picture of it here. I'm just going to score this. Sometimes it's hard to see where the hump is. If you miss the hump, then it's hard to break the cubes off. I think I've missed the hump a little bit, but that's okay. And when I'm doing this, I don't press really hard because there is plastic underneath and I don't want to cut through the plastic. Well, see, because I didn't get it scored very well, I have a breakage. That's okay. I kind of knew I was going to get that, so hopefully I can get the other ones out. Let me just see. So my 3 scents I would pick would probably be some of my favorites. I would probably pick Apple S'mores because it's strong and long lasting. I would pick Marshmallow Mint because it's dreamy and creamy, and I would pick Pacific Sandalwood because it's just so wonderful. So there you go. All right, Amy says, let's get down to her question there. She says, my question is, what are 2 of your favorite year-round warmers, and what are 2 of your favorite seasonal warmers? Thank you. All right. Obviously, I just talked about the Fluted Gray. It's one of my favorites, and I really, really like, I think it's called Crystal Leaves. I will put a picture of it here. It's one of my prettiest warmers. So you'll notice both of those are glass, and the Fluted Gray is a really good performer, and the Crystal Leaves is a pretty good performer, but I really like them for looks. Now, for my favorite seasonal warmers, I would say there is the little one with the Christmas tree. I forget the name, but it's only 15 watt and it's just beautiful. I love it. So that would be one. And my other seasonal one, it's probably one that you'd be surprised at, but I think it's called Winter Stag, and I will put a picture of it here. And it's one that I really, really like, and it's a good little performer in my bedroom. It looks really nice. So that would be my answer to those. All right, let me just get to chopping here. Sugar cookie. We're probably going to do some thirds and maybe some quarters for this, because this is a good mixer. So sometimes I could warm this in my bedroom on its own, but I'll probably be mixing it. So I'll probably cut this middle one into quarters. I might have to lower the blinds here. This video is probably not going to be... See, the problem with my iPad is I go out of focus, so that kind of sucks. Maybe if I need to get a little closer. Let me just lower the blind, just 1 second. I don't think that's much better. See, it almost focuses better when I'm down here, but I can't do the whole video like this. See how it goes, like it fades me out. So anyway, sorry. It's just going to be the way it is. All right, next question. It says, here's a topic I used to search for in Scentsy Tube with little luck. The question comes up every season from those who are wanting to try different car bars and scent circles. Car bars longevity, best bang for your buck. I've really found Cider Mill and Welcome Home have worked well for me, as also has Pumpkin Roll. Those three. I think the ones that have a little bit more spice to them seem to work a little bit better. For scent circles, let me think. I mean, Silver Bells did well for me in scent circle, but I also shoved it in the vent, which I don't suggest, because you'll have some oils to transfer to your vent and it could affect the finish. To be honest, I'm always using different things, so I never get to cycle through everything, but a scent like My Hero would probably do well, and a Mystery Man, because they're a little bit of a cologne-based scent. So give those a try. It says, with Scentsy expanding scent to pods and fragrance flowers, even those make a good topic beyond wax. So yes, I've been seeing this come up, and what I usually do is talk about fragrance flowers, pods, and car bars as I use them up in my empties. So that's sugar cookie. But I don't really have a video devoted, because like I said, I haven't worked through as many as I should to kind of give you a proper video. But I will work on that. I mean, it's just something that, you know, you take forever to use a car bar. So it will probably be like a years of testing to kind of find out which ones work the best. So what I suggest is, you know, asking around and asking in the comment section, and sometimes from other people's experiences, you can get good results that way. The next one is Vanilla Bean Buttercream. That is very broken. Now, Vanilla Bean Buttercream is also a good mixer. I wish I could figure out how to keep me from washing out, but anyway, let's score the hump. And it's actually easier to score than once you're in, it's actually easier to score when you're in these rows, because you have the hump that you can actually visibly see. All right, the next question is from Desiree. She says, do you sort your wax by color, season, scent, or no particular order? So in my closet, I have, in the top shelf, I have bricks. They're hard to get to. The shelf below that, I have spring and summer. I do it by alphabetical order. The next row is Bring Back My... Oh, at the end of that row is License or Kid Scents. The next row, or the next shelf, is Bring Back My Bars in alphabetical order. The next shelf is, on the far left, is Winter, and then Fall Winter, Current Bakery, Retired Bakery. Each section is in alphabetical order. The shelf below that is my Scentsy Club in alphabetical order. So that's kind of how that goes. So I don't do it by color, no. It's always by category and then by alphabetical order. Amy says, I'd like to know what your favorite oils, pods and wax are from the new collection. So my favorite oils, I usually tend to prefer spring summer oils, but I would say, gosh, I don't really know if I have a favorite oil. I really liked that one called Holiday Shortbread. Holiday Shortbread. I'm going to cut this in quarters. I like peppermint scents. Peppermint everything in the diffuser is nice. So yeah. The next one she said was pods. I like anything like fresh that's a good performer. I think the best performing pods that we've ever had for me personally were pumpkin tiramisu. Those were crazy good. So there we have our top row done of vanilla bean buttercream. I'm going to have all these little pieces of wax off to the side here. So I probably should have cut the bottom because the bottom's so damaged. It's closer to, I wonder if I can smell it. No, I can't really smell it. All right. So now we're moving on to some recent Scentsy Club bricks. We have Blue Grotto. This is a really nice one. It's a citrus-based scent. Let's take another question. It says, this one's from Shiloh. Is there a wax bar you hesitated in trying and then finally decided to? If so, what did you think of it? Then they basically say that they've been pushing themselves to order a bar that they normally wouldn't reach for and go to the comfort zone. Most times it doesn't work well for them, but every now and again I get surprised with a new bar I really like. Well, the thing is I usually try most things because I'm reviewing them, but one that kind of I was hesitant to try because I didn't like it at all, and then it wasn't so bad once I warmed it, was that bar called Gone Camping. It smelled like rubber and grossness, but warming, it was like 50% improved. So would I repurchase it? Probably not, but I was happier than I was on Cold Sniff. And what I would suggest is always picking, when you're doing a 6-pack, maybe you do 2 6-packs in order or a 6-pack in order. If you've got 5 that you know you like, throw in a wild card that you're not sure of, that you've heard good things about, or that's one of the top sellers, because usually it's a top seller for a reason. So it's worth taking a try on. If you don't like it, you can give it away, you can trade it away, or you can mix it. All right, another question. Tammy says, how do you decide which scents go in your club, especially if you enjoy so many? So what I would say is club scents really have to be strong on scent appeal. That's probably the most important. But they also have to be good performers, because you don't want a terrible performing wax and keep getting it. And usually I always think to myself, is this something that Scentsy is going to bring out again? Like a high chance it's coming back. If it's a high chance it's coming back, I usually don't put it in my club. But if it's something that is in a collection that I really like, and it's probably not going to be as a bring back my bar voting option, then that's when I would probably do, put it in the club. So if they're not going to be offering it to us very often, then I would say put it in your club. If other people don't like it and you love it, put it in your club, because chances are it may not come back if a lot of people don't like it. Says Catherine says, what scents would you recommend for a kid's room or a kid's bathroom? So actually Blue Grotto that I'm chopping up, it would be really nice for the bathroom because it's a nice bright citrus fresh scent. It's not overly aquatic, so depends on if you like that kind of thing in a bathroom. But what I would advise you, for me personally, I like fresh, bright, invigorating scents in a bathroom. If you're not sure what you should use, check the bathroom cleaner line and use some of those scents. So aloe water and cucumber, Squeeze the Day, Blue Grotto, Johnny Appleseed. If they're in a bathroom cleaner, chances are they would work well scenting the bathroom as well. But with my kids' rooms, what I would suggest always is get your kids involved if they're old enough. Give them 2 or 3 choices and say, which one do you want in your room next? You'll quickly find out what ones they like and what ones they don't like. So I always say involve them in the process, because just like when you're picking out clothes, if they're involved in the process, they're going to want to wear the clothes. If they're involved in the Scentsy product, they're going to you want them to enjoy the room just as much as they should. So that's my answer for that. Hopefully it's not a cop-out. Okay, the next question comes from CJ. The question says, do you have goals for your collection? Like getting wax down to or up to a certain amount of bars, or getting candles down to a certain amount? My goal is to have no more spring summer candles and to get fall winter candles down to just a few each season and not have to store any candles. And then, just like everybody, they say my wax collection, while I have goals, seems to only grow. So I've been working really hard to try to diminish my stash, but being an addict, I keep I keep going back. And my friend Patricia says she's a wax liar, and that's what it is. You say you're not going to buy, and then you go and buy. So yeah, you do kind of feel like a wax liar. But I think at my highest, I think I had like almost 170 candles, and now I'm down to like 52. So that's great. I'm trying to work down and get rid of my Walmart wax. I'm trying to work and get rid of some of my older vendor wax. So once I get through a little bit of this vendor wax, and I'm actually going to be more on top of it with dates. But what I would like to do is just, have enough wax that I kind of can use my wax within a year. That's my goal. Am I ever going to get there? Probably not. But I would love to buy something and use it up within a year or maybe 2 max. But I just have so much right now. I have to kind of try to make sure that what I bring in is less than what I'm melting. And that's the only way you can get your stash down. So you really have to be diligent and be strict. So ask yourself when you buy something, is this something I want or is this something I really want? Because chances are we don't need it, but it's fun to have. Okay, the next one we have is coconut lemongrass. So this is not a favorite of mine, but so many people like it, I thought I'd better give it a chance. And I thought it would be nice to warm in the kids' bathroom. All right, let's read up another question. I think this is pronounced Marissa. She says, "Hi Patricia, I've never done any wax mixing, so I'm wondering what are your favorite mixer recipes?" So the interesting thing is I actually don't do a lot of mixing, and it's because I have a lot of wax and I'm still working on warming things in their virgin state. But actually this is a really good mixing option for a lot of things. And I actually say sometimes if you mix 2 things in a similar scent category, so we have sun-kissed citrus and coconut lemongrass, or you could do. So if you stick within the same category, chances are it's probably going to work. But the other thing is you can Google, say, coconut lemongrass, and it mixes Scentsy, and they're probably going to offer you like 50 pictures or suggestions, and you can try them. Now what I would suggest you do is don't take 2 cubes of one and 2 cubes of another and put it in a warmer. What if you hate it? You've just wasted 4 cubes of wax. Take a half a cube of each, put them in the same warmer, see what you think. Even better yet, if you have the pods of 2 scents that you want to try to mix, put the 2 pods together and you haven't wasted anything. So if you have coconut lemongrass pods and blue grotto pods and you're wondering, I wonder what they smell like together, put 1 pod of each in a wall fan diffuser and let her rip and see what you think. And if you like it, then mix it in wax. All right, the next one was from Haley. She has 2 questions, one of which I've already kind of answered. But the first question she says is, how's Drew recovering? So thank you so much. I always get questions asking about Drew. I must say I'm amazed at the outpouring of love. Drew is like, I feel like he's a little popular dude on my channel now. So he's recovering quite well. He's actually going through a stage where he's rocking aggressively in his wheelchair. That was always a problem with him. And he's actually doing it again. And it makes me nervous because I picture all the rods and screws. Something bad happening. But he doesn't seem in any pain or discomfort. Now, when he's in his bed, he can't really roll around like he used to. But he's getting there. He's rolling around quite a bit, but he's not really sitting up, I should say. So he's getting there. And his scar is healing. It's very noticeable. So I'm not going to put a picture, but I'll just tell you it's very noticeable. So coconut lemongrass, let me cut it into 4s on the outskirts here, because that might be the kids' bathroom. The other thing is if you cut it in 4s and you decide to warm it in, say, in my daughter's room, I would just take 2 of these, and that would equal a half roughly. So this would be roughly a cube, and this would be roughly 2 cubes. I need to invest in a camera, I guess, because the lighting's terrible. But yeah, thank you, Haley, for asking. The next question comes from Julie, and she says, what scents do you wish were in your Scentsy club? Which scents do you regret taking out of your club? Well, most of the scents that I really, really want are in my club. But I regret not putting Blizzard Berry. I regret taking out Candy Cane Wishes. I mean, sometimes you have to take ones out, but I usually take them out when I think, okay, if I have enough, it's because I have so much wax, I'm not going to get around to this. And if I have a few bars, I could probably take it out if it's something I suspect will be voted back. So I guess I don't think too much about regrets, but I definitely wish I could put Blizzard Berry in, although my friend Patricia helps me out there. But maybe something like, I mean, I'm always sad when you have to make cuts, but it is what it is. I've tried to limit my Scentsy Club to a certain size, so. The next question comes from Mary. She says, I would love to know what car bars you think are stellar performers out of the classic scents and the fall and winter, and how is Drew? Well, I've kind of covered this, but some of the classic scents, I think, from my memory, Amazon Rain car bar worked really well. Let me think. What else worked really well? I haven't used car bars in so long that I don't have a lot of recollection. I always think Cider Melon, Pumpkin Roll, and Welcome Back work really well. Like I said, I haven't tried very many, so. All right, Teresa says, my question is, has there been a scent that you used to love, but now you don't? So it's funny, I didn't really love it, but on cold snip, I really, really liked it. And first few times I smelled it on cold, I loved it. And then when I warmed it, I was like, oh no. And it was that blood orange spice. I was like, the more I warmed it, the more turned off I got. So, I mean, there's some that you kind of warm and you think, I used to like this a lot better. But sometimes it just could be the mood you're in. So I always say every scent deserves at least 2 shots or to be revisited, because don't write it off on its first warming. Unless it really, really turns you off. All right, the next one comes from Cindy. She says, can you share some of the lessons you've learned along the way that keep you on track when life goes off track? So I think this is very similar to Leslie's question. Sometimes I think consistency is very, very key in keeping your sanity. So sometimes if things are crazy going on in the world, like obviously what we've experienced the last year and a half, sometimes I think escaping with a wax video or Scentsy video, you know, there's probably no better thing to kind of take you away. So if I can do that for someone, then that makes my day, and it actually takes my mind off the problem as well. So sometimes I just say consistency and keeping to your schedule as best you can. That is probably one piece of advice I would give. All right, the next one's from Carrie. She says, what is a scent that you would love to see in a brick, but it's never been in a brick? I'm paraphrasing that. The next one we're going to chop up is Sun-Kissed Citrus. Beautiful color wax. I would say Winterberry Apple Tea. I think Winterberry Apple Tea is very versatile, not just for the winter, and I think it would do very well in a brick. All right, Katie, I think, says, what are your top 3 fall winter scents that are not in the current catalog? My top 3 fall winter scents that are not in the current catalog. Well, I would say I really wish Candy Cane Wishes was in the catalog. So there's one. I would really like Whipped Vanilla Pear to try that again. And another one might be probably Peppermint Dreams, because I love that one. But yeah, those might be the 3. Heather says, what was the scent you first fell in love with and started a Scentsy club for? Is it still in your club? Has there ever been a scent that you couldn't stand so much that you had to remove it from your warmers before it was done? So the one, I didn't really have a specific scent that I wanted to. Oh, this one's cracked. This one's already, I can take this out in one big piece. There you go. How's that for Scentsy wax? I wouldn't say any particular scent, but I know like Marshmallow Mint, there was no question I wanted that in my club. And so maybe that would be my answer. And the one that I couldn't stand so much that I had to remove it. Usually I never take out anything very premature. I try to let it go at least 10 hours. I remember the scent Mandarin Splash was such a poor performer. I might have taken that out of frustration. But I would say the scariest scent for me ever was Tomato Vine. I don't remember how long I left that going, but I felt like I took it out before it stopped. So I might have left it going like 10 to 12 hours and just called it quits. It was enough for me. And I've never thrown out wax, but I did have 3 cubes left, I think, or 4 cubes left. And I actually gifted that to Ramona because I couldn't stand it. So I don't know if she liked it, but anyway. So that was that. Allie says, what's your experience with the performance of tin or metal warmers? There will be a few coming out in collections, and I'm curious to hear your opinion on the performance. So I definitely have, I think, 2 tin or metal warmers. I have the Haunted Mansion, I think it's called, and I have that Christmas tree one, and I think that might be it. And to be honest, I haven't had any issues that I can recall with performance. Now the Christmas tree one is 15 watts, so I wouldn't really count that because it's a very low wattage, but the one that's 25 watt, I haven't had any issues that I can't notice it performing, so I would say it's fine. So the next question comes from KET4CE. Why does Scentsy have different products for each region? Why don't we all have the same purchase options? Well, I think that comes down to sales and seasons, because obviously different parts of the country, like region 3 is Australia and New Zealand, they are opposite in season from like region 2, region 1. So when they're having cold weather, they might want a warm, more fall winter scents, which is when our spring and summer is. So it's a little bit complicated there. The other thing is, I would say selling statistics. So if region 2 hasn't sold a scent very well compared to region 1, they would basically pull it from region 2. So they're not going to keep something that doesn't sell well in a specific region for whatever the reason is. So it usually comes down to money. So I would say, yeah, money and seasons. And the other thing is, most times this one's kind of crumbly. Most times season 1 is going to get the best choices just because that's where Scentsy originated from. So if you ever have wax that kind of crumbles, sometimes I just put it together and put it back in. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. See? No one has to know. All right. This one I might cut into 4. Sunkissed Citrus is good for bathrooms as well. So in my kid's bathroom, I have 2 mini warmers, so I would put 1/4 of a brick cube in each. This one's kind of crumbly. So the next one comes from SC, which I believe is Sharon. She says, my question, what is one scent that you can mix with any other scent successfully? Most say either sugar cookie or vanilla bean buttercream. Would you say one of these, or what other scent would you choose? She says, I hope Drew is doing well. All right, so I would say a good mixing option that not a lot of people have access to, but I really like, because it's basically a marshmallow vanilla, and the vanilla is not rich. It's kind of like a classic pure vanilla. It's not really a warm vanilla, is Woolly Slippers. That is a really, really great mixer if you don't want a lot of foody vanilla. It's more of a marshmallow vanilla lavender, so it's a little bit more crisp and pure, but it's still warm and gooey. So I would say that. Sometimes spring and summer, a really good mixer would be Pina Colada Cha Cha or White Sands. Those are kind of neutral based scents that still have a little bit of something going on, but they add a creamy tone to whatever you're wanting. So yes, Woolly Slippers might be my, besides the 2 that everybody talks about, I would say Woolly Slippers. All right, the next one says it's from Sensational Fun with Angie. She talks about Drew, but then at the end she said, what is Drew's favorite scent? So the thing about Drew is he is cognitively delayed. So he's very much like a child that might be like around 9 months to 12 months. He doesn't speak, and he doesn't really understand a lot of things the way most kids do. So he doesn't really have a preference. He definitely likes TV shows. He definitely likes certain foods. But something like Scentsy, he wouldn't understand. So I always say, and you've probably heard me say this before, but he would agree with me. Whatever I like, he would like. Okay, so the next one is from Stephanie. She says, have you ever heard of a wax scent causing seizures? And then she talks a little bit about her son. So my son Drew actually has seizures, but they're very mild and they're well controlled. But something like seizures are so tricky that sometimes it's really hard to risk anything. One thing I've learned being a pharmacy assistant when I was younger and having a child with seizures now is sometimes you don't want to do anything to rock the boat. So I can understand your hesitancy, but maybe warm it in an area and just gradually introduce him to that area on a very limited basis and see how he reacts. And if things are fine, maybe expose him a tiny bit more to that area and just do it very gently and carefully. But it would probably be best to consult your physician about that, see what they say. All right, Kimberly says, what do you say to customers who are buying wax that you know is a poor performer or just not a great scent? Do you tell them your opinions and experiences so they can be more informed? I know we all have different taste and sniffers, but if they are new to Scentsy, do you offer some guidance? Well, I think that's really important to offer your experience and guidance without projecting your preferences on someone. So if something is not a good performer in terms of very soft, that doesn't mean it's not going to work for them. Maybe they like soft scents. So I would basically say that such and such is a soft scent. Do you like soft scents? And if they say no, I would offer them some suggestions. So I've definitely warned some people. I think I warned my friend Diane on Mandarin Splash and also Palo Santo, and both times she went with what she preferred, like she went with what she wanted, but most people appreciate it. And sometimes if something goes out of stock or gets retired, you definitely have to be ready to offer a suggestion. So a friend of mine, she really liked French lavender and it went out of it. They retired it for the season, so I offered Jammy Time. I said we might want to try Jammy Time. She ends up loving Jammy Time far more than French lavender. But I think it's important to tell them and give them a heads up. That's part of your job. But at the same time, respect that they have different scent preferences than you. So some of it might be the scent appeal, and some of it might be the performance. So the next one I have is Peach and White Amber. So this one has 3 cubes left. So as you can see, it's easy to just go down the humps because I can see them. I can line my knife up with them. This is all I have left of this scent. So I'm going to be sad when this one's gone. But it's a tricky scent. I have to warm it this time of year when the air is starting to cool down, or in the spring. Can't be too warm in the house where it does not perform well. Like hates humidity or something. All right, the next question comes from, I think it says IK. It says, what do you think is Scentsy's most overrated scent, or possibly a scent that everyone seems to enjoy but you don't like? Ooh, the controversy. I would probably say Luna. Luna is just okay for me. It doesn't perform the greatest for me. It's light, almost too light. And I know it's probably better that it's on the lighter side, but it's okay. I think that I just don't love it as much as most people do. It's just okay for me. I don't warm it very often though, so that is Luna. The next question is from Marissa. She says, how long have you been a Scentsy consultant and what got you started with Scentsy? So I joined in February 1st, 2018. So I guess we're coming on about 3.5 years now, give or take. And what got me started? Okay, so I used to do Zumba, and a girl in my Zumba class, her name was Josie. She sold Scentsy, and sometimes she would bring samples to our class. I was never really interested, but when I was selling my house in the summer of 2017, I was doing a lot of repairs of like nail holes and, baby gates and etc. And so I do the crack filler, and then I'd fill it in, and then I'd sand it. And the house was starting to smell dusty, and we were in the process of like showing it. So I messaged my Zumba person, Josie, and I asked her if she had anything I could try because I wanted to try it first. And she gave me a Boro bag, and I tried putting some of the scents, just tiny little samples. Like I tried them in one warmer that she gave me in the house, and I really kind of got a taste of it, just a hint of it, and it kind of got me going. And then my first official purchase was just through a flash sale. I bought 2 warmers and 3 scents. And then my first official purchase by myself was I bought a 2 6-pack of bars. So after that, I was hooked. The next question comes from what does that say? Crafts by you. What type of collection would you like to see from Scentsy? I think I would like to see Scentsy do, I don't know why, but I want like a bakery shop or an ice cream shop or a carnival collection. So with a bakery shop, you could go different ways, but I almost want like a pie collection. So you could have like blueberry, pecan, lemon meringue, apple, you know, so many options. Cherry, just plain cherry, key lime pie. There's so many options you could do with that. Like the carnival, you could have cotton candy, waffle cones. I don't really like kettle corn, but you could go a lot of different directions with that. Even like a Halloween themed collection, a coffee barista collection. There's so many options. I feel like certain collections would do really well. Like if something sells well at Bath and Body Works, then it would be nice if Scentsy, there's a fly in here, if Scentsy kind of followed their lead. But anyway, they don't seem to do that. But that's kind of what I would like to see. All right. So Heidi says, what made you decide Scentsy was something you wanted to do as a business versus just being a customer? So for me, obviously I treat it somewhat like a business, but I am still very much my best customer, I would say. But I have a lot of great customers, especially my online customers. They kind of do Scentsy like I do. Like my local customers might buy a 3-pack, and then like 3 or 4 months later, they might buy another 3 bars. Well, that's not going to work for me. I tend to go overload. And a lot of my online customers are that way. So it's kind of interesting that by doing my YouTube channel, I've connected with people that are similar to me. And I don't know, I kind of feel a special bond with my online addicts. So I guess, yes, it's still a business, but for me it made sense because if you're buying a lot of wax yourself, it's great to earn a commission back on what you purchase, and you can get access to things that other people can't, sometimes collections early. Fortunate enough for me that I've earned a few incentives, so I've earned some free product, free wax, free warmers, so I love that. So that's probably one of my favorite parts. And then she says, is there a scent that you can think of that they haven't come up with yet that you would design if you could make one? Gosh, I just think they need to do more coffee scents because I think they're losing some coffee people to vendor wax, and then once you get into vendor wax, it's like a whole new world of scents. So I think they need to try to make sure they appeal to every customer. We definitely need lavender in the catalog, and we definitely need coffee in the catalog. And if you're, you know, missing or deficient on those, and even like blueberry scents, we don't really have a lot of blueberry. We have blueberry cheesecake, and that's kind of it. So there's certain scents, or grapefruit. Sometimes there's certain categories that they don't really give attention to, and I think we lose people to other companies because of that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but all right. James says, what is your all-time favorite Scentsy bar? So it would be Pacific Sandalwood. What are your kids' all-time favorite bars? So I asked Ryan last night. He's right off the bat said Johnny Appleseed, and then he said I like fruity scents, and so I said like Sun-Kissed Citrus, and he goes, yeah, like Sun-Kissed Citrus, and he also likes Be Fabulous, and he likes By the Sea. And my daughter, she really likes strong fruity scents. She likes scents like Wild Black Cherry, Blueberry Rush, Johnny Appleseed. She likes a little bit on the softer side. She likes Southern Sweet Tea. She also likes Inhale, Exhale. So sometimes there's certain scents that you're kind of surprised that she likes, but I would say those would be their favorites. Michelle, I'm forgetting to chop here. Let's chop up some Christmas Cottage. I have 3 cubes left. I don't know why those are the 3 that are left, but this will be finished up this year for sure. Oh, and these ones are already scored, but I didn't chop them. So Michelle says, my question is, if you could replace any Scentsy bricks in Scentsy Club, which ones would you get rid of and which ones would you add to replace? I don't know. This might be unpopular, but I think that the Scentsy Club bricks should mimic the season. So maybe put the top 2 or 3 best-selling seasonal scents in the Scentsy Club and take out previous seasons. Like right now, Skinny Dippin' is in there, but this scent I would warm in my open layout, so I'm going to cut it into thirds. I have three main warmers I use there. So I would say take Skinny Dippin' out if it's not in season and put something else in. Maybe Perfectly Pomegranate. That one is never a huge seller to any of my customers, local or online. But basically I would say like whatever the bottom 2 or 3 sellers are for club bricks, then change those out for give some other scents a chance. So whatever the lowest 3 selling bricks would be, let's say it's Skinny Dippin', Perfectly Pomegranate, and I can't even think, I don't know. What else would be a low selling one? I feel like Perfectly Pomegranate wouldn't sell very well. I don't know. What I think might not sell well might sell great. So, but maybe take the bottom 3 out and sub them for like some seasonal scents each year. Anna says, can you explain how you decide a scent's numeric rating? What constitutes a high rating versus a mid-range or a low number? I'd say like Blow Me Out would be like 10 out of 10. A strong performer would be like 8.5 to 9. A medium would be about 7, 7.5. A medium light would be maybe 5.5 to 7. A light would be maybe, a very light would be like 2 to 3. And you know, obviously 0 would be no throw. The next question is from Lauren. And she says, I have a few questions of the more practical sort. How often do you clean your warmer dishes? I clean them when I see brown residue on the bottom. So whenever I see that, I clean them. What have you found is the best way to clean them? I put rubbing alcohol, a squirt of that, and a Kleenex, and we're good to go. I turn my warmer off, but it's like 2 seconds cleaning it. It's perfect. Does black raspberry vanilla really work? I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. I've tried black raspberry vanilla a long time ago, but I haven't tried it for the black stain or the brown stain. What is the best way to clean up a small drippy waxident? I would say if you have it, try to get up as much wax as you can first. And then whatever residue you have, you could use a hairdryer with to warm it up, and immediately before it starts to harden, to warm it up, and then immediately put something that's very absorbent over it, like a tissue or a paper towel, and try to sop it up that way. So like hairdryer, tissue sop up, hairdryer, tissue sop up. Does that make sense? Sam has, I think we're getting closer to the end. So Sam has a question. She has 2. What is your all-time favorite warmer for performance? Plus all-time favorite for looks. I would say a really good performer for a really good warmer for performance are the older warmers. Ones like the Live Simply. I love for mini warmers, I love the Chasing Fireflies, the little tulip one. The etched core basic, like the plain white unglazed etched core, is phenomenal. So those are really, really good ones. It says, what is your and then she had to clarify her second one. What is your favorite bar for performance plus favorite bar for scent appeal? So for scent appeal, it would probably be Pacific Sandalwood, because I love it. And some of the favorite bars for performance would be ones that are strong and long lasting. So the ones off the top of my head that I can think of that fit that category would be Apple S'mores, Arctic Kiss. Jammy Time is a really good performer. And some of the other scents may not be ones that I really like, but I appreciate them for their performance, would be some ones that like Inhale, Exhale. Pink Cotton I really like, and I feel like that's a strong and long-lasting scent as well. So yeah, I'm sure there's more, but I just can't think of them. GM says, what are the pros and cons of an element warmer, and what types of scents work best in them, light or strong, etc.? All right, I'm just going to take a break. So element warmers can be of various wattages. Personally, I would use 12 watts and up. I prefer ones without lids. If you have ones with lids, you're not going to get a strong scent throw. Now that may come in handy, or a lower wattage may come in handy if you don't want a strong scent throw. So say if you're at work and you're worried about neighbors, you could pick an 8-watt element with a lid. It's just going to be a very, very gentle kiss of fragrance. What scents work best in them? That is a good question. Sometimes if I have a scent that does really not very well in a bulb warmer, I'll actually try it in an element. Something, I think from my memory, a scent like 100 Acre Wood did a little bit better in the element, but I can't remember for sure. But what I often suggest is splitting it and doing the best of both worlds. So putting a little bit of wax in a bulb warmer, a little bit of wax in a 12-watt or above element warmer in the same room, and kind of splitting the difference. Because sometimes when you approach it with 2 different ways, because element to me, it takes a little bit longer to heat up, but once it gets going, it's kind of like a slow, steady release. So I feel like the element doesn't have like the burst and then the dip, versus the bulb warmer will start up a little bit stronger, so you get that scent a little faster while your element warmer is trying to catch up, and the element warmer will sustain you while your bulb warmer sometimes is wearing off. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, we're gonna cut up a little bit of shimmer because I recently finished, this is my last brick of this. Hopefully the clamshells aren't too brittle because the last one I had, they kept breaking. But this is coming back in January. So Abby has a question. She says, what would be your ideal job if money wasn't an issue? And she said, what did you want to be when you were little? So when I was little, I first wanted to be a librarian and then later a meteorologist. So obviously I didn't do either of those. What I would like to do if money wasn't an issue. You guys are going to think this is funny. I would love to be a Subway sandwich artist if I didn't have to deal with cranky customers. So if all my customers were really, really nice, that's what I want to be. Because I love all the different combinations, the different breads, the different toppings, the different sauces. So as long as customers were perfect, that's what I would want to do. All right, let me just open this so as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but it's getting a little bit discolored over time. So that is like a little bit brighter purple and this is lighter. So Michelle says, she talks a little bit about her family being from Nova Scotia, but she has a few questions. What are your 3 top favorite scents? So I would say Pacific Sandalwood, Marshmallow Mint, and probably Apple S'mores. But they're always changing as you warm new scents. What are your favorite scents in the pods? I don't really know if I have favorite pod scents. I'm always trying different ones, but I really like scents that I like in wax. So like Bonfire Beach I really like. I liked my Pink Haze pods because I like Pink Haze wax. Pumpkin Tiramisu pods were terrific. Then she says, and with the pods, is there a recommended time to use them up for best performance? Also, when placing them in the Scentsy Go or the mini fan diffuser, is there a right way? Sticker facing up or down? So I would say in the mini fan, I would put the sticker on the bottom so that it's more secure that way. So it's technically kind of looks like it's upside down. In your mini fan or your Scentsy Go, you can put them in whatever way you want. I would say I just put them right side up in those. And I would say try to use them up within a year or 2. Make sure you store them back in their original container. If you use a pod, sometimes I put a little black marker dot on the one that I've used so that I use that one again. But lately I've been putting 2 pods in at a time just because I have a lot of wax and pods to use up. I've noticed that they've possibly thickened the container, the plastic container on the pods versus my Honeymoon Hideaway Pink Haze pods versus the ones I've been getting now. So maybe they've improved that, but always make sure that they're clipped down. And if you have any, these aren't the correct bags, but if you have polypropylene bags and you have a bunch of the pods of the same scent, you could always chuck them in there and in their containers, and that would give you peace of mind that you're preserving the scent as much as possible. So I don't know if you can see this, probably not. The inside is more purple than the top. Anyway, just an example of color change, okay? Carly wants to know, have I ever created scent memories? I've heard of others doing this, and I'm about to take Scarlet Sunflower away with my family on a mini break to see if it works. Was wondering if and when you've ever done this. And hello from England. Well, hello. When I was in Vegas, my sister wanted me to warm, I'm going to cut this in 4s. My sister wanted to warm Jammy Time, so every time I smell Jammy Time, I think of my sister, and it makes me smile. But the other thing is, if you're going away, like this weekend we're going to a place called White Point Beach Lodge, and I'll probably bring the pods. So I may pick a scent that I have never used in pods, but I might pick something that is a little bit, if I take wax, I might take something like cedar cider because my family really likes that, and it's very appropriate for like a lodge fall type scent. So yeah, I mean, just sometimes pick one that you haven't warmed yet, and then that will make you think of the trip. So Melinda says, I've always just left on my warmers 24/7, but I think now that makes no sense to sleep through 8 hours of scent. Can you put warmers on a timer so they're only on during waking hours? And then she says, hope Drew is doing well. I would say definitely you could put them on a timer because I did that when I was in the hospital with Drew. I have a couple overnight warmers, so I put those on a timer. But you can get smart timers. I haven't looked into this, but you can get smart timers that you can get from like Amazon and hook them up. So I would Google Google that and see, because you can either program it from your phone or from Alexa or whatever, those kind of things. So it's definitely possible. I just don't know a lot about it myself. And guess what? That's the last question. So we had a lot of questions today, and I felt a little bit like discombobulated, but I hope you got something out of the video. If you are new and you like Scentsy related videos, please like and subscribe. Take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.